It's the lullaby that's from Arizona.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your neighborhood congregation. I have this morning's announcements. The Social Environmental Action Committee has a meeting today after service in the Lawrence room. That's the large LL room in the north end of our room. Join us to share thoughts on our work for the past year and ideas for our next activities. Talk to Nancy or Laura if you have any questions. Bruce and Natalie are having a party, and you're invited. It's July 1st from 2 to 11 p.m., beginning at the Withrow Park Fire Pit, hanging out with music making, bringing your own instrument, and ending up at Neighborhood around 6 p.m. for pizza, and then an open mic and dancing for the evening. Contact Natalie or Bruce for more info and RSVP by June 28th at nataliesend@gmail.com. Did you attend last Sunday's fabulous Sunday service themes and ideas meeting? Moira McDonald is eagerly looking for a helper to assist with contacting and liaising with next year's guest speakers. If you can be that helper, please email her at moiramcdonald@rogers.com. Danforth Multi-Faith Commons Jewish Folk Dancing. No dance experience necessary. You can expand your dance repertoire, meet new people, and explore one of the fun facets of Jewish culture. This is a monthly event happening here in Rafos Hall from 3:30 to 5 p.m. on next week on Sunday, June 25th. This summer, coming together in community, Neighborhood will be hosting various events over the summer in addition to the 2 Sunday services that will be taking place on July 30th and August 27th. A list of NUUC events was emailed and paper copies are available in the Cappuccino Room. The Danforth Multi-Faith Commons, What Ing Knows. I hope that I'm pronouncing that right. One-act performance on Ing Fowley, who is a child of the Holocaust, a psychotherapist, a Jewish woman who married a Unitarian minister and now practices Buddhism. Josh Greenhut from the DJC is hosting this special film event here in Rafos Hall on Tuesday, June 27th at 7 p.m. Information on how to get your ticket will be sent with the Monday announcements. What is a peace ambassador? Are you thinking about becoming a peace ambassador, or are you just curious about this new role in our congregation? The Healthy Congregations Committee will be hosting an orientation session for people who are wanting to understand better what it means to be a peace ambassador at Neighborhood. This will be on Tuesday, June 20th from 7:30 to 8:30. Join us on Zoom using our regular Sunday service Zoom link. So if you're on Zoom, you already have it. This is open to both members who have established and those who have established relationships within the community. All are encouraged to attend to find out about this new initiative at NUUC. Next week is our Pride service, and you are all encouraged to come dressed proudly as your colorful selves, rainbows and all. This week's question to the community is, how have sacred rituals enriched your life? Next Sunday, June 25th, our theme will be Pride, the Ritual of Self-Discovery. Our speaker will be me. Our service weaver will be Deb Berdazon, and our music will be performed by the Spirit Choir.
Thank you, Zoriah. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you all. Thank you for joining us here in the sanctuary and on Zoom. Now that we're all here, just let's be here. Let us bring our hearts and our minds together as we share Spirit together, as we give greetings and gratitude with each other. This is our threshold moment. Let's enter sacred space together. Find your comfort where you are. Our service begins now. Please join me in reciting our invocation that is shared on the screen. Let us cast a circle of sacred space here. Let us cast a circle of cherished space here. A space of safety, a place of forgiveness, a place of love. If we want the world to change, we must craft in our space and in ourselves the seeds that grow a different kind of life, a life of graciousness, of creative intelligence, a place of life and spirit for ourselves and our families. Thank you. Our prelude would be sung by Kim Knutsen.
Bonjour, my name is Kim, and this is one of the songs that Neighborhood does know. It's the welcome song, the Mi'kmaq song from the East Coast. Hey, Gwanda Day, hey, Gwanda Day, hey, Gwanda Day, hey, Youngie-o-way, Youngie-o-way, hey, Youngie-o-way. Hey, Gwanda Day, hey, Gwanda Day, hey, Youngie-o-way, Youngie-o-way, hey, Youngie-o-way. Hey, Gwanda Day, hey, Gwanda Day, hey, Youngie-o-way, Youngie-o-way, hey, Youngie-o-way. Hey, Gwanda Day, hey, Gwanda Day, hey, Youngie-o-way, Youngie-o-way, hey, Youngie-o-way. All together. Hey, Gwanda Day, hey, Gwanda Day, hey, Gwanda Day, hey, Youngie-o-way, Youngie-o-way, hey, Youngie-o-way.
Thank you, Kim. That's wonderful. Hello, everyone. Where I stand, I acknowledge the land where we live and work is the traditional territory of the many nations, including the Mississauga of the Credits, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuits, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. This recognition of the contribution and historic importance of Indigenous people are clearly and overtly connected to our collective commitment to make the promise and the challenge of truth and reconciliation real in our communities. Neighborhood also acknowledges those who came here as settlers, as migrants in either this generation or the generation before, and those of us who came here involuntarily, particularly those brought to these lands beyond their control. We pay tribute to those ancestors of African and Asian origin and descent. Well, happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday. Yes, and the weather is wonderful. Our musical director is Suzanne Mazars, who's taking a break. We are honored to have Kim Knutsen and Jimmy Dick providing music today. Zoriah Getchell will present our story of all ages. Our Zoom tech is Joe Strykowski. Our AV deck is attended by Gordon Thorne. And finally, our speaker, which I've mentioned, is Jimmy Dick, who is known as a knowledge keeper and an elder from the Moose Cree First Nations. Behind me is our communal altar. Feel free to bring something in. Our theme for this month is Rituals Making Meaning of Experiences. Didn't they do a wonderful job? Doesn't this look beautiful? It's just fitting how the colors go together. So remember to bring something in that's meaningful to you, that connect to the theme, and we'll put them away and give them back to you at the last service of the month. Think of the table as a communal installation and feel free to bring something in to add to it. Our assisted listening devices, believe me, I've practiced that a lot, is here at the AV desk if you need some. Also remember that it's okay to ask for them. I think sometimes some people don't ask for them. We're open to many beliefs here at Neighborhood, and we learn from many traditions. We welcome all people looking for spiritual community. If you're visiting us for the first time, we welcome you and encourage you to stay after coffee. If you feel willing, if you take a red mug, people will feel free to approach you. Our service as Neighborhood varies week to week, so we encourage you to come and sample a few of them to get a better feel of who we are. Our mission at Neighborhood is to empower spiritual growth and shared action for our care of the world. As I said before, our theme is Ritual Making Meaning of Experiences. For this week, we focus on reclaiming ritual and spiritual practices. June is National Indigenous History Month. I particularly love to honor the rich, diverse cultures, language, and heritage of First Nations people of Canada. And for me, it's an exciting time because it reminds me of how much I loved my Indigenous girlfriend. When I was 11 years old, smitten by this beautiful Indigenous girl. It was amazing. I have to tell you, she challenged me. She would quickly correct me every time I was filled with misinformation about biases and the First Nations people. Every time I said something, she would go, "That's not true." She was my teacher. She taught me the truth of the Indigenous plight. I learned so much about their rituals and how they stay connected to the Great Mother. She would say, "Without the Great Mother, there is no life." I will always remember her for that, and this month particularly brings it back to me. I believe rituals and spiritual practices are part of truth and reconciliation. When we pay homage to the sacred rituals of others, cultures, we lift them up. To me, art is a sacred ritual and a sacred practice. Like coffee to grind, there is so much wisdom to be gained from the process of making art more than the result. The ability to lose myself in the art-making activities activates the indwelling teacher that delivers messages that guide my life. It is a ritual that uncovers wisdom treasures. I know I'm not alone with this. From the beginning of human history, they have used art for sacred rituals and to mark their many experiences in life. Rituals help us share our stories, record our history, develop new ideas, expose our struggles and aspiration, and so much more. When we practice sacred rituals, we can connect and leave our negative biases behind as we share in the moment with each other. Around 10 years ago, I was invited to Mankato State University in Minnesota to create a meaningful mural to showcase diversity and unite the students. I designed a communal image that the students could paint together as a ritual to remind them of the importance of peace and unity. Can we have this slide? The chosen image is on screen now as a result of a collaboration between artists and the school board, who then consulted with the Lakota elders of the region, who granted us permission to incorporate the Dreamcatcher. The title of the mural is Interconnected Web Seeking Harmony. This mural is painted on one of the entrance to MSU as a reminder that we're all connected to something bigger, that we are part of and not separate from it, that we're all born from stars and have a unique gift that is meant to be shared in creating the world, that the world is a dream catcher. It lets the good dreams through and recycles the others. Our finished product became a sacred message for the students to remind them and to ponder. After creating the mural, the students gathered and shared what it meant to them to be a part of the ritual. When we engage together in ritual, we move from thinking about the negative biases that separate us to connect with our common humanity. Today, our guest speaker, Jimmy Dick, will expand on how we can all use in different ways to bring focus to the positive aspects of our lives as we grow towards peace and unity. I think when we think of rituals, we forget that so much of our lives is based on a ritual. We create them, we use them to expand our lives. And so today, as you ponder, think about the rituals that we use and the ones that keep you sacred and alive. Now it's time to greet your neighbors. After you've greeted a few neighbors, turn to the camera on the back and offer greeting to those joining us virtually. Zoriah will sound the chimes to end. Now, take a moment and greet your neighbors, everyone.
Hello, Dee Dee.
Hi, Susan. Hi,
Ani.
Michelle. Hi, Dee Dee.
Hello,
Good
John.
morning,
Ani.
everyone.
Hi, Helen. Hi, Angie.
Hello.
Hi, Angie.
Hello.
Hello,
Ani.
Oh,
Michelle.
Valerie.
Hi, Susan. Hi, Dee Dee. Hi, John. Hi, Angie. Hi, Helen. Hi, Valerie.
Hi.
Good
Hi,
morning,
everyone.
Helen.
Hey, there's lots of us here.
Yeah.
Hello,
Awesome.
Valerie.
Hi.
Dee Dee, you're still in Labrador.
I'm flying to Toronto on Saturday, and I'll be there next week for the Pride service.
And now Jimmy is here with us to present our first song for the
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. You know, Boyo, beautiful morning. We sing this song here. It's a grass dance song I'm going to sing. Yeah, it's a real good one. Yeah. This is like blessing the land. You know? That's what this song is. The dancers do that. Yeah.
our story for all ages.
Hello again. I'm going to invite all of the young and young at heart down to the front because it's time for our Time for All Ages. Before we get started, I want to thank our speaker, Jimmy Dick, for coming in today and for talking to us about peace and unity and how we might achieve that, and for sharing that incredible song and the ones you'll be sharing later on in the service. Thank you. So there is no question that I'm white. I was raised to think and move through the world as a settler, and my job here has really made me question those ways of thinking and those ways of living, and think about ways that might be different and maybe and often better. So with all of that in mind, I'm going to share with you a story from the Navajo tradition today. This is the story of Snail Girl. Long ago, it is said, there was a mighty flood, and the people left their world, the fourth world, the underworld, and came up into the fifth world, the world we live in today. They found themselves on the shore of a great ocean. The people broke into groups by clan and went out to find new homes, but at the end of 4 days, they came back to the place by the ocean. There is no fresh water to drink in this world, they said. They stood by the biggest body of water they had ever seen, but it was salty, and they couldn't drink it without getting sick. What are we going to do? They asked. First woman stood in front of the people and spoke. Someone will have to go back down to the old world below, back through the hole from which we emerged to find some fresh water. If I could have just a little water, I could sing my water song and make many streams and rivers grow. First woman was the first human being ever made. She was tall with strong arms and hands and a gentle, kind face. Her eyes shone with wisdom and strength. She looked at the people, and her eyes fell upon the group that was the Water Clan. One of you should go, she said. You should have brought the water with you when we left the old world. Then First Woman made a beautiful water bottle out of seashells. She put a stopper made of red coral in the opening and wove some rainbow into a loop to carry it. When she finished, she held it up in front of her and faced the Water Clan. So who will go? She asked. Out of the group came 2 animal people, Otter and Beaver. Long, long ago, before the world was finished, they say there were animal people. Otter and Beaver walked upright on 2 legs, but they had wide tails like paddles, just like the tails they wear today. And they were great warriors. Otter said, we're from the Water Clan, we're the best swimmers, and we should be the ones to go. First woman smiled at them proudly. She hung a bottle of water around Otter's neck. Together, Otter and Beaver jumped into the water. They went down, down, down until they reached the bottom and walked along the ocean floor. Soon they came to a valley of water lilies. There were lilies of every color. It was so beautiful that Otter and Beaver decided to stop. Beaver said, we should take some of these flowers and plant them in our new world. Good idea, Otter agreed. So Otter put down the bottle, and soon they were both covered from head to toe in water lilies, roots, and vines. When they gathered all they could, they journeyed back to the world above. When they came out of the water, the people waiting on the beach were amazed. Otter and Beaver looked like 2 trees coming out of the ocean. It's us, Otter yelled. The people cried, Otter and Beaver have come back. Everyone was excited. Look what we found, Beaver said. We're going to plant these all in our new home. First woman anxiously waited for the water bottle. Otter pulled and tugged at the roots and vines. I've got it, he said. It's here somewhere. But he looked and couldn't find it. You must have it, Cousin Beaver, Otter said. Together they pulled and tugged at their vines and flowers, but they didn't find the water bottle. Oh no, Otter cried. I think we forgot it. Down there. First woman's eyes narrowed. This won't do at all. You 2 can take your vines and your roots and go plant them somewhere else. So Otter and Beaver waddled away, dragging their tails between their legs to plant their vines and flowers. Today we know that Otter and Beaver still surround themselves with water lilies, roots, and vines. Next, First Woman sent Frog and Turtle into the water. They brought back the water bottle, but when they returned it was filled with salt water. So First Woman sent them away too. First Woman was beginning to grow weary of the Water Clan. She was not used to being this upset. We still don't have any fresh water, she said. Someone tugged at her dress. First woman looked down to see a thin girl with long raven black hair. "I am Snail," the child said in a small, squeaky voice. "I'm from the Water Clan, and I'd like to help my people. I want to go get the water." First woman looked at the people, and the people looked at each other. Everyone knew that Snail was the slowest swimmer of the Water Clan. Nobody thought she would make it, but nobody else wanted to go. First woman nodded. "You are very brave, Snail," she said. And she tied the bottle to Snail Girl's back. Snail slowly slipped into the great waters. She went down, down, down to the land at the bottom. She went past the valley of water lilies, past the place where Frog and Turtle had gone. Finally, Snail came to a hole in the sand with bubbles coming out of it. She went down into the darkness of this hole, deeper and deeper, back to the fourth world. There she found some pure water. She tasted it, and it was delicious and fresh. There was just enough to fill up the water bottle. She carefully placed the coral tightly in the bottle. She went back up through the hole and made her journey home. The full moon was shining when Snail Girl came out of the water. She had been gone for such a long time that no one was there waiting for her at the shore. Slowly, Snail Girl walked up the hill to where she made her home. She was so tired that she didn't feel the rainbow loop come loose and the water bottle fall off her back. She was so worn out that she didn't hear the water bottle dragging in the dirt and rocks, so sleepy that she didn't notice the water trickling out. Snail Girl went to her home and took the bottle off of her back. She looked at it and couldn't believe her eyes. There was a hole in the bottom of the bottle. "Oh no, it's empty," she cried. But she was so exhausted that she just fell to the ground fast asleep. At that moment, First Woman woke up in a dream. "I dreamed Snail Girl had returned," she whispered. First Woman believed strongly in the power of dreams. She ran down to the ocean's edge, followed Snail Girl's trail up the hill. Halfway up, she saw something shining between her feet in the moonlight. She stopped, reached down, and touched it. It was wet. She tasted it. "Fresh water," she said, and breathed a long sigh of relief. Snail did it. Long ago, they say everyone had a magic song. First Woman began to sing her magic song, and the small drops of pure water began to grow. They turned into a trickle at first, then a stream, and then a river. The river got longer and wider and deeper and faster, and soon it was the biggest river anybody had ever seen, rushing into the ocean. First Woman looked at the river and smiled, and then she remembered Snail. She ran to Snail Girl's home and woke her up. Snail opened her weary eyes and saw that it was First Woman, and she said, "All the water is gone. Look at the bottle. There's a hole in it." She started to cry, but First Woman's eyes lit up. "Come with me, Snail," she said, and together they went outside. A beautiful river ran down the hill to the ocean. "You did it, Snail," First Woman said. "You carried the water all the way back from the old world, and even though a hole wore through the bottle as you walked up the hill, I got here in time to take a seed of water and make it grow." Snail smiled. Snail Girl and First Woman stood together near the top of the hill and watched the sun rise over the river. As the people woke up and came out of their homes, they were amazed at what they saw. They whooped and hollered with joy and happiness. The people held a giving thanks ceremony. Everyone sat in a circle, and Snail was the honored one. First Woman spoke. "Snail, you are very brave, and we thank you. From this day on, you will carry the water bottle on your back as a symbol of your great journey. You will leave a trail of moisture behind you every place you travel. This will be a message to everyone that our pure water is precious and we must take care of it." And so it was from that day on. That was our story for this morning, and the message that I take from it is that we need to keep moving forward. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how slow it may seem we're moving, to persevere and to keep moving forward and improving. And if we do, the gifts will be as magical and life-giving as water. Thank you for listening.
Let's take a breath for all, as Jimmy said, all the single parents out there, all the mothers that are playing fathers and mothers, and all the fathers that are by themselves. So I have a special meditation for you today in honor of Indigenous Day, which is June the 21st. I offer you this meditation to connect with your ancestral family. So if you'll center yourself now, just allow your body to relax. And just take a deep cleansing breath. I invite you to close your eyes if you're willing and feel the weight of your body as you are. So allow your shoulders to relax. Just to allow your hands to be where they are. And just bring your focus to your breath. Allow your belly to soften. Now imagine yourself in a very beautiful place that's calm and safe, wherever that is for you. Now just open an intention to meet and connect with one of your ancestors. This can be one, or you can have a collective ancestry meeting and be open to whoever comes. Once they come, ask a question and listen. If they have a story, listen to the story. Be flexible. Now, you can thank your ancestors for whatever message that you received. And come back to your breath and return to the room as you're willing. Welcome back. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Jimmy Dick from Moose Cree First Nations in Moose Factory. He is fluent in the Cree language and is a teacher and educator in Native culture, spirituality. Jimmy has been actively involved in the Toronto Indigenous community since 1975 as well, and is a well-known member of the Eagle Heart Singers Drums Group, a community organizer, active volunteer, and as a board member for many various agencies. His message for us today is titled, Peace and Unity Among the People. We also want to say happy birthday to Jimmy. I believe he had a birthday last week. Jimmy's message, peace and unity among the people. Jimmy says aging parents often think about what they can do to make sure their children and grandchildren are not burdened with their worries and their unfinished business after they're gone. The same can be said for the passing of our negative biases and attitude towards other people. Jimmy will share his perspective on how to focus on the positive aspects of life and work towards peace among all.
Good morning again. I just wanted to, first say thank you for inviting me here, and Moira couldn't be here either, so I just want to say good day to her, and hope she's tuning in, or maybe you guys can tell her all about it. My journey started when I was 15 years old. It's about 51 years ago. And I left home, trying to shake the world up a little bit, something was wrong, and my friends that I grew up with, there was something wrong with something, like a mechanic. the way things were going, and it never really changed, for a long time. And so we all gathered together to look at the problems. There's a lot of problems all over, not only in our community, but it stemmed from somewhere else. So, a few years earlier, before then, we were in residential school. We were trying to take, everything we had, away from us, and but we fought back in ways, in our own way, and we still maintain the culture today, language, tradition, customs, and the ceremonies. So, and what we prayed about back then was unity, amongst all of us, and eliminate, all sources of being hindered, what we want to see. And like I said, I traveled from up north. I went to school in high school, and really looking forward to going to high school, but there was a lot of racism. I really couldn't concentrate getting an education. And we had to, people were trying to fight me 3 times a week during the week going to school. And it got worse when you got a white girlfriend, Yeah, especially an Indian boy, Boy, those guys really put the boots to you, And it was kind of discouraging, like I said. We played sports, you can't have fun. You're trying to hurt you, and everything like that. And anyhow, I ended up quitting school and told my mom and dad I just can't even concentrate to go to school and get an education. I wanted to be a lawyer when I was going to school, and I think they were scared of that, That's what I told them. Yeah, that's how the best thing to do, But anyways, I didn't accomplish that, Kind of discouraged me. So, anyways, I fought, I fought back on I met a lot of people, when I left this factory. I met a lot of people that were building unity amongst ourselves, because of the struggle, treaty rights were in shambles. We couldn't even get nothing, to better us and help us. So this went on for, a long time, and I still am today. I'm still doing stuff to talk about our situation. And I even went to overseas. Different travel internationally to voice our situation, and when you do that, you're more spied on by the government, you know. The spy agencies like CSIS, FBI, CIA, they're on your tail, you know, and traveling around and just gathering support and creating awareness, you know, and on genocide that's going on. And, but the people I've been meeting, they were really supportive, you know. I remember in Libya, they would try to give us $50 million, and you know, the government Secret Service was all on us right away, you know. FBI, they're gonna have $50 million. Anyways, I was just to support our situation here, like, you know, rebuilding our cultural things and doing, you know, support programs. But somehow, I guess the FBI and those guys told them, don't give them any money. So, anyhow, as days went by, we went to different places, and you know, and the other thing that we connected on was the Condor and Eagle prophecy of the unity amongst indigenous people in the Americas. That was in the early 90s, you know, and then that's when we build unity internationally, you know, not only nationally but internationally, and even people that, you know, indigenous people in Europe, you know, and we talked about, you know, how important it was, you know, for our children's future, you know, that we really need to hammer down some of those things that hinder us, you know, and even our court cases here in Canada, we can't really win nothing, you know, get nothing until we go to the World Court, you know, where if you challenge here, it's more domestic, you know, and that doesn't really do nothing. And they give out money every once in a while just to make themselves look good, you know. Meanwhile, they're pillaging the other parts of the world, you know, our land. And again, the homelessness is a human right, you know, and on how far is Canada and human rights are letting us allow that, you know, and Indians, and then they're going to see non-Indian, non-Native people getting out there, you know. I think people fail to understand that whatever happens to the Indian will happen to them too, you know, like with the guinea pigs, you know. Yeah. And people say, it's never going to happen to me, you know. You know, but lo and behold, that's what's starting to happen. There's be more people, you know, a lot of things going on. And I'm worried about my kids. You know, my kids are getting old now. My youngest turned 18 the other day, and I don't want her going through all this stuff that I went through too to get justice, you know, and get equal rights for what we have here. And grandchildren, my grandfather too. I'm worried about them either, you know, we want to feel good at home here, you know. We never, you know, I always pray, you know, that the unity comes along, you know, that we, you know, don't only say it, but do it, you know, and that's where my thinking is. That we, you know, Indigenous Peoples Month is only 1 month, but why can't we have it all year long, you know? And Mother's Day, you know, 1 day, Father's Day, Grandpa. Why can't it be all year long, you know? You know, all those good celebrations we have, we can kick along all year long and feel that unity, build that unity, you know, and what we see our children, you know, like we gotta really think the technology, you know, it's really good and bad, you know. You can't leave home and you'll talk to people in Germany and South America, you know, save your plane ticket. But again, there's a lot of trouble in there, you know, a lot of lateral violence, you know. And if you do something nice, Facebook will put you in jail for a little while, you know, not to post any good unity stuff, you know. But again, like I said, it's just building these things, you know. I came from James Bay. I ended up in South Dakota. You know, I ended up in Toronto first. You know, found a lot of Native people here that were going through the same thing I was. So we all gathered together and we did all these things. We ended up in South Dakota, the ceremonial ways. You know, I've been going there for 26 years now, and other places I've been going before I, you know. And here too in Toronto, we do a lot of unity stuff. You know, we used to have a Mother's Day gathering. I don't know if you guys remember that on the island. We used to have a Mother's Day celebration to not only with the mothers, but our original mother, the earth. You know, build conscious and awareness of what's going on with the earth, the environment. You know, a lot of people separate that, but we are the environment. You know. A lot of people don't realize that. We're like flowers, you know, like, you know, flower, you're talking, growing a flower, you gotta water it, get some air, you know, things like that, talk to it. You need the sun, you know, things like that. And so, you see, we are the environment. So we really need to pay attention, you know, like what's going on with the air quality, you know. And last year or so, the earth was so hot, you know. It's like a big sweat lodge going on, you know. And if you were in the sweat lodge, then we wouldn't be able to handle the hotter weather, you know. So those kind of things, and then the destruction, you know, of the earth. These things are they're like the same things in our body, you know. The trees, you know, they control the oxygen, you know, and the water is life, you know. Air, it's like God, you know, you need it, you know. All those things are important. The land where we live, you know, it's been here forever, and people come back through here again, and we really need to pay, you know, more unity stuff with ceremonial ways, you know, like get back into your original ways that we were given and go pray, you know, go suffer for a little while, you know. I go to ceremony every year and I don't drink water for 4 days, you know, and I don't have food as part of the ceremony, and you pray and pray, you know. Sometimes you fall down because of you know, losing the energy, but, you know, you feel really good after you're done. You offer your body, your flesh, you get pierced on the chest, you know, on the arms, on the back. Offer, you know, the little you have, right? And this is what we show our kids, you know. We take them to those places, show them when they're really young kids. And they're doing it now, you know. They see the significance of that, you know. And you never know, someday, you know, we might go without water for a few days, you know, and you're not practicing that, and, you know, a lot of people are going to suffer and die, you know, and food, maybe a lot of contamination around, maybe take a few days to buy food again, you know. It's scary, you know. I don't want like I said, my children, my grandchildren going through that, and so we got to really look at that, you know, and technology too, and what's the good and bad about it, what's the good for it, you know. And a lot of the mining companies too are ripping up the land, you know, everywhere. In South America, we got ripping up our relatives' lands down there, you know. You give them like a free ride over there, and, you know, they don't have no consciousness not to go there and destroy their land, just like we did ours, you know. So that's it. We really need to address those things, you know, that destroying ourselves or like shooting ourselves in the foot, you know. And you know, the importance again is it's through how we got to really reorganize ourselves, you know. You know, the hierarchy is not working, you know. You know, fighting that and trying to do a sharing and caring thing, there's a big clash, Well, in our land here, the caring and sharing is what makes us who we are, and whoever has the most in our culture is the one that's a lot of respect for them and what they share and what they do, But in the other culture, it's the other way around. Who gathers the most, is the one that's respected, So it's a big clash, So we need to reorganize, I think the king and queen's got to go down, and they never work. Charles has got a job there. He was 73 years old. He was living off his mom, So we really got to look at those things, And what do we do here at home, We hardly talk to our neighbor, Some people don't talk to their neighbors. They don't talk to each other, So we really need to do something really important, and about this wish thing we're doing here today, it's going to go further than that, It's going to go to our home, and to our relatives' homes, We got to do that, acknowledging and sharing that love, and we really need to do it for our kids, our kids, our grandchildren, great-grandchildren, like that, everything we have, we can't take it with us, No matter how much you have, you're going to have to leave it here, So that's the things that we got to learn and just give it away, people, I have a lot of stuff I had in my house too, and giving it away to people, things, and they really feel good. Hey, this is nice. I can use this thing, So those kind of things, they forget to do those things, And Christmas it's not the only time to do that, Do that all year long, how much love and unity will be more visible, and greeting the day every morning, If you do sunrise ceremony, you pray for those good things to happen, that day and every day. And the unity amongst all of us here in the Americas, We really need to, pray together, do things more together in unity, and again, of the crisis we have too, right? There's homelessness, people, single parents out there, are really having a hard time, and some of them are almost thrown out of their place because they can't pay their rent, So all those things, is incredible that people don't feel to support the other ones, Maybe one of these days is going to be you, We get too old too after, I'm learning to be old now, Starting to learning that and how important it is, to start taking care of yourself, when you're younger too, You'll be 66 and be getting all these pains. Out, ooh, ooh. I got a cramp. Wait a minute. Crazy, But again, we need to take care, ourselves and our families, our ways we live, And we got to talk to that government to reorganize, Hey, you're steering our boat in a different way, and come on. And those things, like I said, and human rights, is important for our homeless people. We got to shake Ottawa over there and say, hey, that Canada, human rights, where's that thing you signed, 1977? They signed the Human Rights Protocol in 1977 in Geneva, Switzerland. Nobody calls them on that there. They do all these other things inhumane, And the United States too, they have responsibility too for people, indigenous people down there. So we got to look at all these things going on that we need. Even here we need to, build some kind of unity. And that, not only once a week, you know, but every day, you know, and start practicing start finding your roots, who you are, you know. Some of you probably got indigenous blood, you don't even know it, you know. You've been here so long, you know. So we really need to do that and, you know, and say, you know, hey, my dad, my grandpa had indigenous blood, you know. People are amazed, you know, because like I said, he's been here so long, over so long time, and then should be more at the base of that, you know, the unity, and, you know. And also, these laws, you know, they got to change, right, you know, right? Like the jail, okay, the jail. I think all the politicians should go in there pretty soon, you know, throw them all in jail. You know, no matter, you got to crack down on them too, right? You know, and all their friends are the only ones that corrupt people in the government, you know, and you got to challenge them, you know. Yeah, they might kill you, you know. You know, it's the worst they could do, right? You know, and that's what happens when you challenge the system. You know, you get killed. I have friends I had that did that too. They got killed. You know, but they weren't afraid. You know, they knew what was coming. You know, and they were shot at in Wounded Knee. I have a lot of friends that went to Wounded Knee in 1973. They faced the federal government and the Army, U.S. Army. They held them off for 71 days. You know, they challenged that. Another one in Kenora in 1974. It was another 71-day standoff or whatever about indigenous rights and our treaties, right? You know. Even Cache Creek, you know, over here in British Columbia, you know. You guys know about those things? My friends were there. I was there. You know, so we really need to stand up sometimes. You may get wiped out, but, you know, the mess is still there to keep fighting, right? You know, and, you know, a lot of people say that they fight to the end, you know. You know, if those other system things are not going to kill you, it's going to be the disease, right? You know, cancer, you know, diabetes, all those things. You know, all the germ warfare, as we call it, you know, going to kill you. So we really need to really pay attention and, you know, and how we conduct ourselves, how we work, and we think like that. You know, think about your children. You know, our children. We don't want to go through all those same things. You know, when they're our age. You know, we want to see a better place for them. You know, that they be, you know, recognized and involved in that. You know. And we got to start honoring our young people. You know, young people they're pretty intelligent. You know, they're pretty interesting people. Even my kids, you know, when I became a father, when I find out they're all grown up now and they're all amazing, interesting people. You know, they can work a job in the government, but they probably won't hire them anyways. But they're really smart kids, interesting, and. You know, but again, it's part of that old racism thing, you know, still there, you know, hanging on. You know, they're scared of change, right? You know, you want to control everything, control freaks, you know. So we really need to start pushing for that, you know, to put them in those places where they can make a change, a minister. Somebody told me I might be a prime minister one time in the 90s. I don't want to be prime minister. But again, you know, things like that, we live our dream and change, you know. We want to change what the way is. It's really unjust right now. You know, just to change the way we think, you know. You know, we got our bias, you know. A lot of bias. And that's the way we live, and our kids are going to grow up the same way, you know. You know. we're doing change all those things, you know. We even challenged the professional sports team about negative overtones of Native people, you know. Well, I had a good fight with them, and they're starting to slowly change their names now, you know, the sports teams and how they do sportscasting, you know. Oh, the Indians scalp the Jays, you know, like that. You know, sometimes that's what they are doing. The broadcasters, you know. Even Lloyd Robertson, we had to go do a talk to his company one time where he worked, and, you know, about the overtones, racial overtones of their broadcasting. They were all like this. When did I do that? You know, but we had to tell them, we show them the news clippings and everything, radio, play them back, you know. So they kind of changed their overtone about that now too, you know, and also with the way they name teams, you know, red men, you know, baseball team, big logo, that Indian, big teeth, you know, all those things. They have a negative overtone to us, you know, and so we challenge those things. Even in the Danforth Tech High School, we went to do a talk. They had a team of the Redmen team. Oh, about 600 people that evening I went there, and my friend was supposed to come with me, right, back me up. He never did. He was kind of nervous. But as I went over there and talked about that, and everybody says, we're honoring Native people. I said, no, you're not. You know. But anyways, the mediator was always cutting me off every time I wanted to say something, right? You know, he's always talking to his friends, you know, defending. Finally told him, I'm getting out of here. You guys don't even listen to what I'm saying. Have a nice day. They're all mad when I left, you know. And, you know, a few years later, they're talking about changing it. So those things like that, you know, they really need to, you know, think about that, you know. And I teach at a school called Kababama Chakwe during the day, you know, when it was incorporated in 1976 into the Toronto District School Board. And why that happened was because the neighborhood Indians, you know, where they lived, they went to this neighborhood school and they were treated really bad, you know. There was nothing positive for Native people in that school. You know, it was God, you know, fight all the time and bullying. So the kids didn't want to go to school, and they told their mother and father, they said, okay, we're going to start school here, bring all your kids. They started at a home, you know, and this is where they were taught, you know, the culture, tradition, culture, language, and customs. And so anyways, that's how that school incorporated. So in 1976, they incorporated in there, and they said, we're going to give you a school of your own. It was 1976. 2019 or 18, no, 16. They finally announced before Christmas, oh, we're going to give you guys a new school, a whole school. You know, the old Danforth Tech over here, Eastern Commerce School of Business closed down. They gave us that school before Christmas. So during the holidays, we moved in, right? In case they change their mind in January. You know? So that's where we're still there. We got our whole school right to grade 12, you know, from kindergarten. You know, we got our school there, and, you know, neighborhoods complain there because we're doing sunrise ceremony, you know, we're singing and having a fire, and they complain, you know. And then we invite them out. It's so damn early in the morning, you know. Well, why complain if you can't come and join us? It's something really beautiful. And then some of them are starting to come now, too, as the years went by, you know. This is real nice. You know, I should have came a long time ago. So the things, like I said, people really need to be educated on, you know, and building the relations, you know, all the time, and move every day, you know, and you know, a lot of kids too would have been probably playing a lot of good sports and everything like that too, you know. 'Cause again, the racism and nepotism, as they call that too, I guess, you know, and, you know, just for example, the Golden Knights, you know, they won the Stanley Cup, you know, and there was one native player there that was on that team, and he won that, you know, his team won that, you know. And it builds a lot of character for all the young people, you know, young native kids coming, you know. But again, being able to play there, you're going to have to get over your coach, you know, playing favoritism or bosses, you know, like a lot of racism in there yet, you know. But he made it, you know, he inspired a lot of young people, native people, really made me feel good, you know. So all the things, and so a lot of things like that I said we really need to look at, you know, and where do we start, you know, there's so many, you know, big list. But again, starting this campaign to, let's take over the world, you know, okay, you know, right away a lot of people are about to shoot you and kill you, you know, and we're just going to make it a better place. Well, they still want to shoot you anyways, you know, it's a good place, you know, and again, like I said, you know, people are afraid, you know, they're afraid that maybe Native people will get back, maybe run their own country again, you know, and the changes, you know, they're afraid. But maybe one of these days, you know, we'll control our country again, you know, and that's what I see, you know, and that's a challenge, right? But again, we always see peace, unity. That's what we want, right? You know, and we want to feel everybody feel the same way, you know. We want to share that love, you know, for life and happiness, you know, progress, you know, and that we feel good, you know. We appreciate all the allies we have, you know, all the activities that go on, you know. But let's look at our children, you know, our grandchildren, grandchildren. You know, I'm speaking on their behalf, you know, and that's what I think, you know. Like I said, when I was 15 years old, you know, I don't want my kids going through this what I'm going through, you know. So things like that, I wanna say like that at this time, you know, and share those thoughts, concerns, wishes like that with you, and think about them, you know. They're not really out of the way, you know. They're every person's should have those things, you know. And I thank you for listening, and I love you all, you know, and I hope you see you around somewhere in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy, for the message. And now it's time for our offering. This congregation is a living entity and it needs sustenance. If you contribute with pre-authorized withdrawal, thank you. As we contribute to the life of the community, we affirm our lives within it. If you're online, please use the link displayed on the screen, which leads you to our donation page on our website. In all ways, we ask that you be generous. That was quite a message. Thank you, Jimmy. If you have found love and acceptance here, if you have found home here, if you have found kindred spirits here, let this offering be a token of gratitude for our common life as we share and build the common good. And now, I'd like to invite Lauren to distinguish our challenge. Our closing tradition in neighborhood is that we get together, if you all stand, and we connect. You can hold each other's hands or touch a shoulder. We connect physically as we did spiritually. Today I will leave you with this blessing. As we grow and change, let us all not forget the importance of rituals that promote peace and unity among the old and new. May we have the courage to leave a legacy with our children and grandchildren that promote a future, that leave behind our unfinished business and open a passage to peace, unity, and love among all beings. And our question to the community is, how has sacred ritual enriched your life? Our service is ended. Go in peace.